هر کس میخواست ببینه که چه آیندهش چه خبره، گذشته چه خبره، چه فال حافظ میگرفت. یه دونه این 52 تا فال حافظه.
As Jews living in Iran, our identity was so strongly connected to being Jewish, and anything that was to be coming in had to be kosher. And so Yalda was, in a way, almost a foreign thing, even though it was in the land that we lived. So it seeped in, like in many other things, like saffron and things like that. So much of it, like even for Hanukkah and candle lighting, we wouldn't put it in the window and stuff, because especially living in the south of Iran, and not having a Jewish community, you didn't really exhibit it.
We're Tannaz and Rachel, and those were our parents. We are Iranian Jews who grew up in the United States, away from the rituals that were our parents' cultural defaults. We wanted to find a way to carry our past into our future.
Welcome to Erev Yalda, an Iranian-Jewish guide to navigating the dark. In cultures across the world, this night, the longest night of the year, is a special ritual. In the Persian culture, we call it Sheba Yalda, where we gather together around the fire, eating special foods and reading poetry.
Tonight, we're putting a special spin on it. As Iranian Jews, we're bringing our two traditions together, Yalda and Hanukkah, together on the longest night of the year.
There are four things that really embody the night. The first is people and community. Everything is better when you have some good friends around. And the second is poetry, especially the poems of Hafez, a Sufi poet who sometimes when you're reading him, it's like he's reading your mind, which is why we do fortune telling when you read his poems.
We also eat some symbolic foods on Yalda. Tonight we'll have red fruits to symbolize the crimson rise of dawn, but also we'll have some Hanukkah Yalda mashup foods to keep things interesting. Yalda is about embracing the night. We've been socialized to fear darkness, but on this night, we're excited to spend time together with our people in the darkness. When you get together around the fire with people you love, some good food, some great poetry, you realize the darkness is really nothing to fear.
So thank you for joining us. Tonight's going to be a special first ever Erev Yalda. We're so excited to share it with you. Jonathan York, artist and lawyer. Michaela Watkins, actress and comedian. Noam Shuster-Eliassi, comedian and activist. Rob Eshman, senior columnist at The Forward. Tehran Von Ghasri, comedian and actor. Dr. Sahba Shayani, professor of Persian literature at UCLA. Tara Grammy, actress and playwright. Rachel Sumekh, social entrepreneur and advisor. Tannaz Sassooni, food writer.
I want to tell you guys a little bit about the menu tonight. There are some traditional foods here as well as some Yalda Hanukkah mashups. So I'll start with the traditional, and I'll actually start over on the tables over there. We have mixed nuts, mixed roasted nuts, ajil, which is like a mainstay of any Persian gathering, but especially on Yalda, you eat ajil and you eat red fruits. So we have watermelon, we have pomegranate, we have some persimmons, we have some red apples, and they are to symbolize the crimson dawn when the sun rises at the end of the Yalda night. So we have those, and then, like I said, we do have the mashup. So with Hanukkah and Yalda in mind, I made a take on a latke tadig. So this is a dill and fava bean rice with a shredded potato tadig. And instead of sour cream to have along with it, we have masto musir, which is yogurt with Persian shallots. So you can do a little combo there. Another traditional Hanukkah food is sufganiyot. We eat foods that are fried in oil to commemorate the miracle of the oil and the light that lasted much longer than anyone expected. So sour cherries are very nostalgic and evocative for Iranians. So I made some mini sufganiyot with a sour cherry filling, al-balu sufganiyot, if you will. So throughout the Sephardic world, there's all these different fritters, fried sweet things that have names that are like sfenj or jalabeya or bimuelo or whatever else. But again, Iran doesn't have a specific Hanukkah culinary tradition, but zulubia just feels right. Like it calls back to all of those Sephardic fritters. So I added some zulubia as well. We also have nun panir or sabzi. So nun is bread, panir is cheese, and sabzi is greens. Fresh herbs. Here we have some basil, mint, and tarragon. There's also some radishes, some pistachios, a little bit of halva. But yeah, we love any sort of like bread and cheese and things, delicious things alongside. So it's kind of, in this case, a take on a cheese plate. And then lastly, just to bring it around, I made like a kind of winter Yalda sangria. So it's red wine and pomegranate juice with a little bit of Cointreau for some orangey flavor. Please help yourselves. Eat too much, drink too much, enjoy. Nushejun, which means bon appetit. It means may your soul be nourished, and enjoy. Please eat and drink.
And now we begin the main event, Fala Hafez. Each reader raises a question about their future and uses the poetry of Hafez, a renowned and beloved ancient Persian poet, to gather insights and divination.
Okay, I'm gonna do it exactly how my mom does it. She goes like this. Mom, sorry, I'm giving it away. She goes, no. Someone should start laughing. I have 1,000 brilliant lies for the question, how are you? I have 1,000 brilliant lies for the question, what is God? If you think that the truth can be known from words, if you think that the sun and the ocean can pass through that tiny opening called the mouth, oh, someone should start laughing. Someone should start wildly laughing now.
What stands out to you from it?
Well, first of all, the theme of Yalda and the theme of this night is light coming after darkness. And to me, I find comedy, to be needed for everything. It's needed to digest tragedy. So to me, that's light, is laughter, is comedy. So this is very appropriate.
Something that stands out to me, and we talk about this often, is that actually Iranians are very good at using comedy in times of tragedy and difficulty. Like, even with all the suffering that they've endured, they make fun of that suffering in a way to like...
Sounds a lot like the Jews.
Yeah.
Throughout the night, Hafez's poems kept reminding us that while we may carry the illusion of control, sometimes we just have to surrender to higher forces.
I don't know what the question is, so maybe you can help me form the question. There's been a series, like a tumbling of unfortunate but not catastrophic events happening to me lately, like one after another, and they've been reverberating. Like nothing catastrophic. The best version of bad things are happening, but it feels like it's a cluster event.
Ask why.
Yeah, why? You can ask why? Wow. Of course things like that can happen.
No.
Is the name of the poem.
Wow.
Verified.
Yeah, of course things like that can happen. Yep.
Once God made love to a great saint who had a hairy belly. Of course things like that can happen. Life went on. Amidst the other 10,000 wonders, whiskers and weeds and trees and charming babies kept emerging. For the moon knows that God is always amorous. He will never stop making love, and for the truth has been divinely conceived deeply within each of us. O Hafiz, look at the splendor of God's grace. The sun has been planted in 1,000 furrows across every soul's brow. Of course, my dear, everything God and I say can happen.
So does that answer your question?
Got it. Shit happens is what I'm taking away.
Out of the craziness that you think is like absurd or crazy, or creation happens. I mean, a baby came out. So even out of this thing that you think is impossible, or this thing that you think is terrible, that's creation too. I think it's really a powerful poem.
Yeah.
Hafez, toss away your woolen sack with equanimity. We have followed the caravan with the fire of sighs.
To me, it also sounds like the idea that life, it ebbs and flows, right? It goes and comes. So if you're in a good place and things are coming, enjoy it and take advantage of it. But nothing is ever forever, right? It goes and it comes. And when the other wave comes, you'll be fine too. This will return again.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to rest it on. The only one. From men's perspective, in this intricate game of love, it is so easy to become confused and think you are the doer. But from God's infinite certainty, He always knows that He is the only one who should ever be put on trial. Oh my God, wow.
Yeah, goosebumps, right?
Oh, wow. This is connecting to the personal and the, the violence around me and everything. Yeah, this is very, very powerful. I'm always feeling guilty that I'm not doing enough. And I'm not able to change the reality around me in Israel, Palestine. And it's always a lot of we take it on. I took the entire situation on myself sometimes, and this poem, just helped me right now.
I'm so critical of myself, always I know my potential, I should be going more, and judging myself for not doing more. And there's a sense of relief I felt of no, actually, who are you to think you're worthy even of being judged, right?
When you think you're the doer, you're confused. Let it go. You're not that important.
Last dawn, I told my story to the wind, my yearning. A voice declared, "Be secure in the grace of God." Morning prayer, sighs at night, key to unlocking the treasure gates. Follow this path to be united with the object of love. Can this mute pen reveal the secrets of love? You majestic eagle, how long will you crave for dry bones? I wish more people realize that we all have these morning prayers and sighs at night, no matter who you are or where you're from. And it goes beyond culture, ethnicities, or nationalities. We're basically all in this together. And even when I look at something like the majestic eagle, how long will you crave for dry bones? I think of a lot of things in the climate of politics, where the truth is right wing, left wing, same bird. We're all that majestic eagle. And we either fly together or we fall and crave for dry bones.
As the night goes on, we find ourselves simply marveling in the beauty and depth of the most seemingly simple lines.
Your beautiful parched holy mouth. A poet is someone who can pour light into a spoon, then raise it to nourish your beautiful parched holy mouth. Wow.
That was it? That was the whole poem?
That's it. There's a lot of imagery in Hafez's poems. There's a lot of insight and perspective. And that's something I wish the world had more of.
We explored the darkness together and found some glimmers of light.
I will ask about love. I'll ask about finding love, but also love as something that kind of embraces us all, and we have it in so many different ways. But that's what I want to dive deep on. Come on, Hafez, don't let me down. Tripping over joy. What is the difference between your experience of existence and that of a saint? The saint knows that the spiritual path is a sublime chess game with God, and that the beloved has just made such a fantastic move that the saint is now continually tripping over joy and bursting out in laughter and saying, "I surrender." Whereas, my dear, I am afraid you still think you have 1,000 serious moves.
life is what is this. It's not that thing that you're waiting for, the person or the whatever, you know, it's just this. This is life.
And it's so relevant to Yalda because we are typically socialized to be afraid of the dark, right? Like resist it, turn on the lights, don't go in the dark. But if you surrender to the dark and you say, actually, what if we bring some people and we bring food and we bring light and we sit in the dark? It's actually really nice.
Well, unless you live in the Middle East. Maybe it's because of all the trauma that like the violence I've seen with my eyes recently. But it is so hard to accept that we have to surrender to so much darkness.
First of all, I honor and respect the pain, the darkness, all of those feelings. But I feel like a way of another darkness to look at is that of kind of like the things we don't know and the things we don't understand. And I feel like there is that fear of these things that we don't know. We're just going to stay as far away from them as possible. And I think the lesson that we can get from a moment like this is like, well, let's actually move towards it with curiosity, right? And instead of remaining in the dark and continuing to not know and not understand, we grow and we learn and we expand ourselves in such a way. And I think that I would say that's something that I don't need to tell you about. That's like your life, right?
I don't have all the answers. I don't know exactly, but I'm still going to fight on. I think surrendering doesn't mean giving up necessarily.
Just as the night grew darker still, Hafez left us with a reminder of the light that awaits us.
رسید مژده که ایام غم نخواهد ماند. چنان نماند و چنین نیز هم نخواهد ماند. Glad tidings have come that the days of sorrow shall not last. It didn't remain in the past, and it so shan't remain today either.
For those of you who think that the Torah might not have commentary on Yalda and the solstice and Hanukkah, Tannaz and I dug up
Yeah, we found a teaching that was actually quite amazing, that in the Babylonian Talmud, which was written in the Persian Empire, there's actually a story of Adam being confronted with the winter solstice, being scared by the fact that it was so dark and so endlessly dark, and thinking that it had something to do with him, that it was because of his sins that this was going on.
Tannaz, be honest, did you get this on ChatGPT?
No, of course not. This comes from a real person, So ultimately, of course, the dawn came.
But before the fast.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's getting darker and darker, and Adam is freaking out, and he's like, let me fast for 8 days. And during that time, he started to see it was getting lighter and lighter out, and he came to realize this is just the cycle of the earth. And so the story of Hanukkah, we're told, is maybe very militaristic, but there's this really beautiful story in the Garden of Eden, which we even heard in Hafez's poems tonight, that this connection that we have, our stories, to the earth, to the solstice.
Oh, but wait, he fasted for 8 days, but then when the days started getting longer again, he had a festival for 8 days. So there is this direct connection to Hanukkah between the winter solstice and Hanukkah, I should say. Yeah.
It just shows that like the story of solstice is in the Talmud, in like the commentary, and we don't know it. There's so many of these themes that overlap. And again, with the fire and the light, and Hanukkah is coming up, and the themes really give us an opportunity to take a moment now and light some Hanukkah candles. John, why don't you lead us in lighting the Hanukkah candles?
Let's light the candles.
Amazing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hadlik ner shel Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Erev Yalda.
And actually, the good news is we have these guides actually on the table that we'll be sharing out that'll help you understand what went into this, what books we might recommend, some poems to get you started as a guide to
The recipes.
Erev Yalda, the recipes. Absolutely. And so we hope that you all walk away feeling a greater connection both to the earth and the cycles, to light, to community,
To love, to curiosity.
and a sense of reclamation that these rituals and this history that we come from, we've inherited, just like all the traumas we've inherited. And we're allowed to bring them together and fuse them and bring, as long as it's around love and bringing people together, like this was a chance for us to build the future of being Jewish and Iranian and American and Israeli and everything that we are. And so thank you for building the future with us. We hope it continues to look like this. And we hope you continue to feel more light as we leave tonight, starting tomorrow, a little bit more light. You can find the guide and more about Erev Yalda at erevyalda.com.
So this new tradition of Arv Yalda that you are creating, that brings the two traditions together, is such a wonderful thing, because we're creative people and you're not just reliving the way that the older generations did it, but you bring your aspirations for what can be and bringing these things together. And I'm really moved by that.
المنت لله که در میکده باز است زان رو که مرا بر در او روی نیاز است خمها همه در جوش و خروشند ز مستی وان می که در آنجاست حقیقت نه مجاز است